But we do.
But all right, we're running out of time before I want to open it up to questions, and I hope you have lots of questions. But I want to ask each of you a more personal question. Tammy, you have been in Congress now for 10 years. How has Congress changed from 1999 to 2009? Is it more partisan? Is it more friendly? Is it less friendly? Is it more accommodating, less accommodating?
Well, throughout we've lived in very partisan times, but what I would say is that just because of partisan control of Congress on LGBT issues, we have gone from fighting defensive battle after defensive battle, trying to keep bad things from happening, to now in the last couple of years having an opportunity to advance things. And that has been one of the most wonderful changes. I mean, having Jared join us as a new member of Congress, and at a time when we finally have a president who's going to be willing to sign these pieces of legislation if we can get them to his desk, this is a phenomenal time. And so somebody asked me why we formed the LGBT Equality Caucus in the House of Representatives. And it was in large part because we had made that shift from needing to organize around defeating bad things, the federal marriage amendment, for example, to all of a sudden having this opportunity to advance the agenda. And now we have an LGBT Equality Caucus that Jared and Barney and I co-chair with 82 members. We divide up all sorts of responsibilities in terms of organizing, briefings, et cetera. But it's very much helping us move the ball forward.
And Jared, this is your first term. Is it what you thought it would be?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great job.
Now, come on, tell the truth.
It's an exciting job. It's a great job. I mean, it's been a time of tremendous activity. So I mean, we don't want to get spoiled and think that if I'm here for a while, all of my years will be like this. As I said, it's been a tremendously productive year for Congress. I think this session will be a very productive one for the LGBT community. Clearly, I can see that it's much more fun to be in the majority than the minority. Tammy's been in both. I have not been in the minority, fortunately. But I mean, all you have there is a soapbox. I mean, you can't do a darn thing. You're actually legislating when you're in the majority.
So what you're telling me is there's nothing that you've experienced as a member of Congress that went counter to what you thought would happen. Like, everything's great. No frustrations whatsoever. Things don't move more slowly. You didn't...
No, it's a great job. I mean, the challenge...
I know it's a great job. I have a great job, but I could complain if you want me to.
That's great. You have to focus on a couple areas and know them well. You can't possibly know and be an expert on every single thing you're voting on. So you have to rely on staff and make sure you recruit the right staff to be experts on different issues and who know them, and then focus on a couple things that you know. In the case of Tammy and I, the equality agenda. I also work mostly on education and immigration. Tammy works a lot on health care, a lot of other issues. So you got to just focus on what you can do.
All right, we got a dish now, and then I'll open it up to questions. Who is the most, start with Jared first, since you're the newbie on the Hill. Who's the person on Capitol Hill who has surprised you the most? Like you're in Colorado, you're there, you're watching, and you're like, God, that person drives me nuts. But then you get to Washington and you realize, see that the person really is a jerk, or the person is nice. Who's the most surprising figure?
Most members of Congress, really almost all of them, they have above average charisma. They're nice people. That's how they got where they are. I mean, that's how they got elected. So I mean, people that we demonize because of their positions are actually pretty nice. I mean, otherwise their voters wouldn't keep sending them there. So I'm, on my rules committee, I'm colleagues with Dr. Virginia Fox. Some of you might have seen some of her shenanigans. Very pleasant person, and we talk and we're cordial, and those relationships are important. I mean, maybe she'll agree with me on something someday.
So you actually you sit and talk, or is it more, I mean, you talk, or you just sort of shake hands?
As I said, I have a good civil relationship with, I mean, even members whose viewpoints are antithetical to everything I believe. They're friendly people. there's a couple aloof members, but they're not the most divisive members. They're just people who happen to be aloof.
Who's your best friend on the Hill?
Besides Tammy.
Right. Of course.
I know Tammy and I are good friends. Let's see. You mean among the members of Congress? Yeah. Mostly they'd be among my freshman class. I don't know if it's the same for Tammy, but we're very close to the people that we got in there with. So I am very good friends with a few folks that got in there with me. One of my colleagues from Colorado, Betsy Markey, the 3 guys from New Mexico who are all new, Ben Ray Lujan, Martin Heinrich, Harry Teague. Really a lot of the freshmen I'm very, very close to. And, we when we finish work at 9 or 10 p.m., if we still have energy, sometimes we hang out for a little while.
Tammy, you've got 10 years worth of dish. So, who is the person who surprised you the most when you first got to the Capitol, or who's the person who you've watched over the 10 years who has surprised you in their evolution or de-evolution, or is it devolution, over the 10 years on any issue?
Oh my. Well, I'll give you. In fact, I was just talking with another attendee about this relationship. The relationship that I have with Tom Price, a conservative Republican member from Georgia, who probably 6 years ago, we figured out that we had some, believe it or not, common approaches in healthcare, which is sort of unbelievable in a way, because I'm a single payer fan, and he's a health strong, and he's a health savings accounts for everybody fan. And so what did we have in common? Well, we had in common the belief, and this is during the Bush years, that if we gave states the right to create their own universal health care systems, we could actually move forward more quickly. And so we drafted this bill together that took us about a year and a half of monthly meetings, an hour and a half or 2 hours a night, when we were meeting on these things, and came up with this bill, and then went out as champions in our respective parties. And I lined up 40 Democrats, and he lined up 40 Republicans. And so here there's a universal health care bill that allows states to do single payer and allows states to do some other things too, that Tom Price and I, it was a Baldwin-Price bill. When the Democrats took over, Tom Price became one of the chief bomb throwers, if you will, on the floor for the Republicans, and is always taking to the floor and sort of doing the most heightened partisan rhetoric. And so whenever people sort of say, you and Tom Price are close on, it's quite something. But we still to this day talk frequently about, is there a role in national health care reform to still allow the states to innovate and do things beyond the baseline of what will end up as the health reform bill?